Today we decided we do something a little different. Normally we do have art supplies, more or less cheap, but that's actually not where we both originate from, so to speak.
So to speak, when it comes to like painting and generally doing complete pieces of artwork. Both of us basically have been more into doing digital artwork as opposed to traditional artwork, just because we grew up in circumstances where it was not easy for us to always replace our supplies. So going on to digital artwork fairly early on in the adoption phase of digital artwork was where we both basically ended up.
Yes, I mean, obviously we both used paper, we all both used the paints, partially the stuff that we are presenting to you in the other videos today. But as soon as I got onto the internet, as soon as I learned what other people do, I very quickly noticed I need something to do art in the computer, just to cut out the costs for paper, paints, etc. a little bit. Yeah, and that's where we are today. So we thought we just show you some stuff. For example, this is not my first one. My first one is long gone and broken, but this is, I think, my third graphics tablet which I bought. It's a Wacom Bamboo, which you may have heard of.
Yeah, model CTH 460.
Yes, this is just has a USB cord.
Yeah, this one, it's not detachable.
Not detachable, no. Has several buttons. I didn't buy it specifically because of the buttons, but I bought it on eBay and it was a good deal. I paid like 30 euro for it from someone else. And it's barely used by the time I got it. This is the pen that belongs to it.
Yeah, so for those who haven't seen anything like this, because I know times have changed since we got into digital art, the theory is you plug this in your computer and you need to train your hand-eye coordination, so you're literally drawing here but you're looking at the screen. It's quite a thing to get used to, but once you have it down.
It's basically a little bit, imagine it like a mouse replacement. You know, if you have actually have ever tried it, that it's very annoying to draw or paint with a mouse, because you need to do the same movements all over again and your shoulder gets strained and whatnot. While if you put down the pen, the mouse cursor will just appear at the point on the screen that equals to the point on the tablet where you put it down, and so you can quite naturally actually draw and paint.
Yes. So this is my one that I got back in 2012. It looks horrible, but there is a theory for this. Basically, I just put this protective coating on mine because the surface is very rough and it was wearing, I'm not particularly heavy-handed by the way, but it was wearing these out incredibly fast. I was having to replace them like every 2 weeks. So
we should maybe explain the nibs in these pens are, you can pull them out and also replace them once they get worn down. They are basically made of plastic. And since it's a very soft material, if you rub it over a very hard material, of course it gets worn down, it gets blunt. Yeah, just like a pencil basically would, if not that fast.
Yeah. So basically, this is just a thing that I made. I MacGyvered it on here with masking tape to basically smooth the surface. So, I mean, yeah, it feels a little bit different to draw with, but I'd rather have my nibs lasting a very long time than wearing out within 2 weeks.
Funny enough, maybe a little curious story on the side. The first graphics tablet I ever bought didn't work, was from a flea market. I had no idea how these graphics tablets supposed to work. I thought you can just take a regular pen and paint and draw on it and whatnot. And I didn't know that you need these extra ones. But that one had actually like an inbuilt plastic flap, not unlike this. Mm-hmm. So you were actually drawing on the plastic. I assume the idea was that you could like put pictures underneath it, your sketches on paper, and then trace over them.
It's a possibility. Oh yeah, that's the model of this one if anyone is curious. This one has served me really well. It still works. It's lost its rubber feet, so it has new ones put on.
Oh.
These ones are a bit worse for wear. But other than that, this thing has lasted me over 10 years as opposed to my very first graphics tablet, which I'll insert an image of, which I got, I believe, in November 2003. It was made by Genius, and these things were notorious for failure.
Yes, also, coming back to these pens one more time, I'm just going to pull this out. You notice this is like one unit. The old Genius tablets, for example, had a battery that you had to put in here. So this is actually a very lightweight pen. The battery, of course, made it much heavier, and also the battery would always be empty.
Yeah, I think for the longest time, Wacom actually sat on the patent for having their styluses to be battery free. The Genius pens, I remember the batteries used to take one AAA battery. It would drain it incredibly fast, and then the plastic was so cheap that all my pens are always warped because the plastic would always let go over there. So I always had rows of sticky tape around to just hold the damn pen together so I could draw.
Oh well, but well, it's kind of like did the thing it was supposed to do.
Oh yeah, I made plenty of artwork with it.
For a relatively cheap price at the time, because these have gotten very affordable in the recent years. Before that, you had actually to shell out a little more money for these. But also thanks to the fact that basically now everyone can make these pens without a battery, we are getting a lot of alternatives.
Yes.
Which we are getting now too, as soon as we have removed these.
Oh yeah, I just want to point out this one has a removable micro USB cable. It's just not plugged in. It's not wireless or anything. I just wanted to point that out quick.
Yes.
Okay.
Same as this. This is a Huion tablet.
This is the model HS610 Creative Pen tablet made by Huion.
You see, it's much bigger. It has a row of clicky buttons which you can actually configure in the operating system of your choice, which probably will be Windows,
yeah,
let's be honest.
I like this wheel. This wheel is nice.
Yes, it's like a little jog wheel. It's not unlike the experience you would have on your phone or whatever when you are like using gestures or whatnot. However, this is also using a pen, which I just have here out of camera, which is this. You see there is like nothing to put it on the side, so it comes with this little neat stand.
This one also came with one of those hand gloves, so you don't smudge up your surface. I don't know where I put the glove. But
Which I have never used really, because look at these. My hands are very big and they are very uncomfortable for me to wear.
For me it was okay. So Huion are nice. They actually built this in here that you actually put the nib in here. You can pull it out and they actually give you several replacements. While Wacom, I think at that point we've got the Bamboos only gave, I think, two spare or something. Something
like that, yes. In effect, you had to basically buy new nibs at some point. They are not that expensive. But yeah, that's just the nature of the beast. Also, this has like a slightly rougher texture, although I think not as rough as the Bamboo you just showed off.
Yeah, not as rough as the Bamboo, because it still has its original one. You can see it has slightly worn now.
Yes, but
I've used it a lot actually. So
it's actually not as bad. When I say bad, as I said, it's just the nature of the thing when you rub plastic over a rough surface. It's supposed to make it feel a little more natural compared to a piece of paper.
Yes.
What else can I say about this? This costed less new, I think around 50 euro or so when I bought it, than a new smaller Bamboo would cost. I had, for the beginning phase, some driver issues. Sometimes it would work on my computer, sometimes it wouldn't. But then at some point, for some reason, it just randomly went away. So I blame Windows for that. Other than that, until this day, it runs very nicely, very stable. Drawing on it works like a charm. It's absolutely recommended.
Yeah, I recommend this one. I only found one thing weird with the drivers that is still a problem to this date, is that for some reason it will trick your computer into believing it has a touch display.
Yes.
So every time you look at the properties of your computer, it claims that it's touch enabled. It's not your monitor, it's actually this thing for some reason doing that.
Yes, because it believes what you normally would do on a mobile device with your finger. It sees basically the pen as your finger.
Yes.
That's also the way it works. You tap here and on the screen everything that is there gets tapped. just as you would do on a mobile device screen.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to remove this so that we can show off our most curious thing we have today.
Yeah, this is an HP Elitebook 2730p. Yeah, it doesn't look good. I bought this secondhand from a South African bidding website called Bid or Buy, and I got it in this terrible condition, and we stuck these stickers on it to try and make it look a little bit nicer.
Yes. At around the same time, I bought a similar model in Germany. Mine was a little more higher powered from the processor. So this is the slower model.
Yeah.
We switched it out at some point so my wife could use the processing power that she needed to run her programs with, and I took this one, installed Linux on it, and I was just playing around on it basically, since I also had a desktop PC at this point in time, for which I used the other one you just seen.
Yeah, unfortunately the more powerful one I had to leave in South Africa because I could not bring it with me because I haven't been able to ship my stuff here, and you can only take so much with you on a one-way ticket, etc. So unfortunately it's still there, but my sister is taking care of it and she's using it. She's also an artist, so
maybe show how it is supposed to work.
So it looks like a normal little laptop. This one has a screen protector on it, so it is a bit bubbled because something went wrong in the application.
We also have to say we haven't used this in ages.
Yeah, we also can't turn it on right now because we're not getting the power and it doesn't have a battery.
The battery is missing.
So the theory of these is they actually have a swivel mount.
Hey.
So, and then it has this little stylus and you can draw on it.
Now you basically have something very similar to an iPad. I say similar-ish.
Yeah, similar-ish. So this particular model, the 2730p, shipped I think with Windows Vista, which as you know is a pretty bogged down operating system, and as my husband said, he has now put Linux on it.
Not supported in any way, so I would not recommend anyone getting one of these to use it with Vista installed.
Yeah,
that would cry for disaster.
Yeah, it is not a pleasant experience, let me tell you that. You can run Windows 7 on this and it's okay, but if you want to use more modern drawing programs, you're going to run into problems.
In my opinion, if you would ask me if it's worth seeking one of these out these days, only if you get it under $100, which is never the case from what I have seen. Because you get better alternatives on the mobile device market these days.
Yeah, unfortunately that is the case, and I also wouldn't recommend this to somebody who doesn't know much about technical stuff, because granted these probably have not been refurbished 100% and they might run into heating issues, etc., and you're going to have the knowledge on how to deal with that.
Yes, plus the pen does not work out of the box usually when you get these from wherever, and you have to fiddle around with drivers a lot. It's a bit of a nightmare if you are not into tech stuff and you just want things to work.
Exactly, and as it was when I bought this one off Bid or Buy, it actually came without its stylus, and I actually had to go and find another compatible stylus, which thankfully somebody else was conveniently selling, so I did have a bit of a problem there. But no, these things are cool, but I would not recommend these if you don't have the technical know-how for the upkeep of these machines.
No, however, if you are interested in old curious laptops and you like to tinker around with things, you're not afraid of hunting down drivers on the internet, and you can get one for cheap, it's fun.
It's fun.
So, as I mentioned, there are better alternatives these days than getting one of these used old. We come to this. We charged it, so it should turn on. Yes. And this is how it looks unlocked. I opened a program called Infinite Painter. It's available not for free, but for very cheap. It costed around €10 by the time I bought it. I'm not sure what it is these days, but it can't be like really that much more. And you get this little stylus. This is an S Pen. The S Pen, So it's a bit awkward working here because we're sitting behind the light and the camera. The S Pen basically works like an Apple Pencil, so you can just like draw with it. This works. I got this tablet for I think around 250 euro in a deal. Someone else gave me also a bit of money to it, so I personally didn't spend that much on it. I think for something like this you should expect around 300 to 400 euros.
Approximate, yeah. These are actually pretty nice to draw on.
Yes, however, the S Pen is a very nice thing.
Yeah, because it doesn't need to be charged or anything.
It doesn't need to be charged, exactly. There is like supposedly no battery in here. I have no idea how they do it. Probably this is the same technology that's also in the Wacom tablets. I'm not sure. However, what I do not like about this, I think it does the tilting up to some point, but if you tilt it too far, you see, now it kind of like paints with tilt, but if you tilt it too far, and you have a very light grip, it's not always doing what I want it to do. This might be me. You might not have any issues with this if you try it out. I sometimes tend to hold the S Pen in weird angles, and sometimes it doesn't draw for me. But again, that might be me. This is possibly something you can get used to. It depends on your posture. Everyone is different there.
Yeah, because this is also very awkward because we're not sitting directly in front of it. So
it's a bit better if you are sitting directly in front of it, if you have it like directly under your hand. But if I say I never got really happy with it, that sounds very harshly. I always had this little feeling that there have to be better alternatives, which we are getting now to. Mine first, you first.
Yours first.
Mine first. Okay.
Let me just get this out of the way. I gave it to you, didn't I? Oh, here it is.
So, this is almost like an iPad with an Apple Pencil, and this is an iPad with an Apple Pencil. You see, this is my wife's old iPad.
Yeah, this is an iPad 8th generation.
An 8th generation iPad.
Yeah.
This is now Procreate. You can see Procreate looks similar-ish.
So put the brightness all the way up so it shows up nicely.
Yes, so you can actually see what we're doing. But the difference that here is the pencil. The pencil has a hard nib. The S Pen in comparison has a very soft nib, which I don't really like. But yeah, I get so much nicer lines and drawing quality out of this that it's absolutely worth it.
No, it's absolutely worth it because as somebody who has drawn digital art professionally for several years, I can get it along with the Samsung, but sometimes it comes across as a little bit frustrating to me because I feel that this pen is... I mean, it's okay, but the problem is it also feels very fragile when you use it. And like he pointed out that the nib's tilt range is not very good on it. Plus side is you don't have to charge this.
Yes, this one has to be charged, but I do not see this as a big problem because the charging normally goes pretty fast. The problem that I see is the way you charge it, because you actually have to plug the whole thing into the charge port on the bottom of the iPad.
Yeah, because this is a Gen 1 pencil, so to charge it you actually need to plug it in here. You can charge it with the cable, but that is generally the idea of how you charge it.
Yes, and this is always making me a little nervous, especially if you have cats around that knock things.
Yeah.
So I tend to put it on the highest shelf, on the flattest surface I can find, so that nothing is actually about to fall or break on it. So yeah, that's the only minus thing I would say over this tablet. Other than that, it's totally worth it, even though it's not the newest one. The new iPad Generation 10s, we have looked at them and they seem not that different from this, to be honest.
No, they are in a weird transitional phase with the original iPad range, because with the Generation 10, because they have changed to USB-C here, you actually need to plug in an adapter cable, and then only then you can plug the pencil to the cable to charge, which is a little bit weird, and you also cannot use it while it's charging that way. So
yes, so generally when we were looking for a new tablet that my wife could work on, because she's the main artist here and she's doing like way more elaborate things than my little scribbles that I do, so we actually looked into different options.
yeah, so hello Temu stickers. This is not a very nice cover for this particular iPad, but I fixed it up with some stickers. So this is an iPad Air 4, and I have actually opened it on one of the first paintings that I did on it.
I mean, look at this.
Which I was commissioned to do. So this was done on this iPad Air 4. So you can see all the nice little details I could get in here, all the nice colors, lovely color range. Oh yeah, I also want to say that both of these here are sporting matte screen protectors. They are not paper-like. They are just ordinary matte screen protectors, and it does make it a more pleasant experience.
It does make a difference. We have never tried out the original paper-likes that everyone here on YouTube will be going on about. Either they like it or they hate it. Because these do it for us. Those are matte screen protectors. They provide like a little more grip without chewing on the nibs. And that's enough for us.
Yeah, that's enough for us. So this is the Gen 2 Apple Pencil, which charges magnetically on the side here. But other than that, the way that these work and general usage, I would say that they are more or less identical in the way that they work. There is like a slight difference, but it's not that high.
There is a difference, I think, also because of the way the screen is being made, while here there is like a gap in between the surface and the actual screen. This is laminated screen, so it's basically like you are actually drawing on the screen.
Yes, I also have this weird thing that I've seen other people talk about, is sometimes when you put your hand here and you draw, and if you have like a lot of colors here, it makes it more obvious. You will notice that you actually get like a weird point here, and you can see the liquid moving underneath in this area.
It's basically, imagine, I mean, I'm not recommending that you should do this. Please don't, because you can break your stuff. But it's basically like if you ever tried to get like a little smudge of your LCD screen on your computer, and you see that the point where you actually are pushing on changes a little bit, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a really weird thing. It just doesn't interfere with how it works or anything.
As long as it doesn't break the device, and so far it hasn't. It's also probably worth noting that we opted against an iPad Pro. Not because we would hate to have one. In fact, we'd love to have one just for the bigger screen that they come with. But because of the price.
The price. Yes, I am a professional artist in the regards of doing digital artwork. I do commissions on a regular basis. I cannot justify the cost of one of these things at the moment. So this is an iPad Air 4 which came out in 2020, and it's good enough for what I want to do. While I would appreciate a bigger screen and maybe more RAM so I can have more layers in Procreate, I can get around it because I'm used to working with limitations. I always find a way to go around limitations.
Exactly. So Apple, Samsung, if you look at this video and you want to do something nice for a pair of artists, send us stuff.
Yeah, please send us an iPad Pro. That would be great.
Huawei, also everything.
Huawei.
We are always happy to do reviews.
Don't you mean Huion?
Huawei?
You said
Huion.
Huawei.
I said Huawei.
You
Yeah,
said Huawei.
I mean everyone. Every manufacturer, please send us stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, this is just basically us talking about digital art. We will want to do more videos showing little tricks and stuff that you can do. As of September 2023, we both stand by the Apple products, the iPad Air and the normal iPad. If you have a Pro, great, would be for you if you can afford it. We highly recommend this and Procreate as the app to drawn, because it's not subscription based, it is a one-time cost. I think it is now about
15.
just under €15, give or take.
That being said, Clip Studio Paint is available also on the Android devices, also on Apple, basically on everything I know. And it's also very nice to draw with. So if that's your thing, check it out. They have a free trial. There is a subscription fee each month. If you want that or not, that's up to you.
That's up to you, yeah. I have had some issues with Clip Studio Paint on just in general, which I will talk more in depth about in a future video.
Yeah, we can maybe make a video just about Clip Studio at some point.
Yeah, and Procreate, etc. Because I would like to talk more about art in general, but most of my expertise is in the digital art area of drawing digitally.
Yes, same here. That doesn't mean we won't be doing like traditional art. No, we are actually thinking about stuff that we can get, that we can feature. We have something that we aim to purchase in the near future. So stay tuned for that too.
Yeah, we're going to just do everything art. Sometimes it's going to be traditional, sometimes it's going to be digital.
I don't see why you can't combine these things.
No, you should be able to combine them, have fun. If you can create, it's great.
Yes. And with that, I think that's a nice word to close this video. You have anything else to say?
Keep creating.
Keep creating. So we shall see you next week. Thank you for the subscriptions. Thanks you for the likes. And have a nice day. Bye.
Goodbye.